Factsverse presents. When an Italian guy went to repair his toilet, he unearthed an ancient underground complex. Italy has over 40,000 years of human history. Rome was established in 753 BC. The ancient ruins in Italy are quite amazing. The Roman Colosseum was completed in 80 AD. After its completion, the circular amphitheater held audiences of over 80,000 people. In the Colosseum's heyday, you could watch a gladiator fight, a sea battle, even a public execution. And not far from the Colosseum is the Forum. This was where you would hear public speeches, watch criminal trials, and vote in elections. Although most of the building and monuments that once stood there are gone, people still flock to see it each year. Pompeii is a city in Italy that was lost. When a volcano erupted in Pompeii in 79 AD, it disappeared in volcanic ash. When an architect named Domenico Fontana was trying to dig a canal in that area in 1594, that is when the city was found again, and it was well preserved thanks to the volcanic ash that covered it in the first place. After this surprising discovery, the area was excavated and they found molds of the residents of Pompeii. The people of the city were buried in 13 to 20 feet of ash right where they stood. It created figurines that remained even after the bodies had decayed. Also well-preserved were homes, stores, cafes, and churches. Luciano Faggiano is a Leece resident. He owned property and he wanted to turn the ground floor into a restaurant. He, along with his wife Anne Maria Sano and his son David, who was 12 years old at the time, they were going to live on the upper levels of the building. His two older sons, Marco and Andrea, had moved out of the house and gone to college. When Luciano decided that it was time to start the renovations, he asked his sons to come home to help. The property seemed to be in pretty good condition. Luciano realized that he would need to remodel the inside, for aesthetic reasons, but as far as the structure itself went, it had recently been updated. There was a new central heating system in the building, and the walls were painted bright white. Luciano decided the property really didn't need all that much work, except for the toilet that was broken. The last thing Luciano wanted to do was repair a backed-up sewer system, but, well, you have no choice if you're going to have a restaurant. You gotta have a restroom. So he got his sons together to help him dig the trench, and he assumed that the project would only take maybe a week or so. When they started digging, they discovered that there was a false floor in the basement. Luciano realized this job would now take much longer than a week. He and his sons started digging up the false floor, keeping it a secret from Luciano's wife. As the men were digging, they uncovered medieval stone. It was then they realized there could be some historical artifacts hidden under the family home. They found an uncovered grain storage chamber, which led them to believe that there was something more in there. Unfortunately, there wasn't much room to move under the floor, so Luciano asked his son David, who was only 12 years old, much smaller than his other son, to search the uncovered spaces below. Luciano's wife started getting suspicious about what the men were doing because of all the laundry that the men were putting in the hamper. His neighbors also started getting a little suspicious because of all the debris that was coming out of the home. When one of Luciano's neighbors alerted the authorities, they told him that the project had to end. The authorities told him that he could fix the broken pipe, but nothing more. Finally, a year later, Luciano was given the green light to start working on the project again. Luciano and his sons eventually uncovered ancient vases, medieval-era relics, and religious bottles. Much of the city's history was buried right underneath the Faggiano home. Each day of digging turned up new artifacts. The project ended up costing Luciano a lot more money than he wanted to spend, so he had to stop. He bought cinder blocks to cover up the hole and tried to forget about it, but the city officials, they didn't want him to forget about it. They wanted to see what else was down there. Also, his architect told him he should remove that sludge beneath the bathroom before renovating it. Luciano decided that he dropped the plans for the restaurant. Instead, he was going to build a museum called Museum Faggiano. He was going to display everything that he and his sons had found for the world to see. Fortunately, the city government was on board with this project. Today, the museum is one of Leece's top-rated museums. Guests can take a winding staircase to get to the area that the family had dug up. They installed bright lights and glass flooring sections so that visitors can get a good look at what's down below. Luciano says that he cannot believe that a broken pipe in a toilet started all of this. It may not be Pompeii, but it is pretty great. When an Italian guy went to repair his toilet, he unearthed an ancient underground complex that changed his life forever. Help us spread the word about Facts First by clicking that like button. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos.